Welcome back to Blockspace Bytes, Blockspace Media's Monday show, where we summarize everything that had happened this past week and will happen this coming week in 10 minutes or less. I'm Charlie. I've got Will here. Good morning, Will. How's it going?
Good. There's like a windstorm outside my window, so kind of chaotic out there. But happy Monday.
I'm in Oklahoma, where the wind comes sweeping down the plains. Apparently, it comes from Colorado.
It does. It does.
So neither of us were in Oklahoma or Colorado this past week. We spent the week most notably in Austin, Texas. This was a very interesting conference, and make sure you stay tuned to listen to our take on this. But as always, Will, we like to start out with the clip of the week. Can you give me some context here? What's the clip of the week today?
Clip of the week is my home Bitcoin mine that actually hasn't been running for about a year. And I just threw it up on YouTube and it did really well. So I guess we could play it really quick.
Yeah, here it is. Let's go. I don't know if you can hear it, but it doesn't matter. It's just the sound of a whining ASIC.
Yeah, we can hear it. Yeah, that's an M50 that I had in that box. It's from Steve Arbor's black box design. So like he open sourced his design, if you will. And I went to Home Depot with some friends. We built it in a weekend. I think it took 2 weekends, and put it out there. Got some conversion set up for electricity. Ran it for probably like an aggregate 12 months, but like with Bitcoin price and like home electricity costs in a retail area, not a super great idea unless you just want to stack Bitcoin on KYC. So
yeah, and I can't imagine you're making money with it right now unless you got free power.
It has not been running for quite a while because it was it was way too pricey. Actually, its last 6 months would have been better than the prior 6 months, which is when I was running it. I think I was in the red consistently. Now I'd probably be like close to break even, but oh well, still fun project.
All right, well, let's move on to pods. We had a number of podcasts this week, and I'm actually kind of excited. I'm most excited for the ones we've got coming out because we recorded them in person down in Austin, Texas. But we had a number of podcasts this past week. Will, what was on the mining pod this
Mining
week?
pod, we had Peter Todd, Bitcoin core developer, so that'll be coming out tomorrow. And then also Mike Hamilton of Grid. So that'll go in the Bitcoin season 2 and the mining pod because it kind of touched both. So we'll just rebroadcast it on both those channels. And then of course we did.
Hey, welcome back to
as well.
Yeah, we actually you had Austin Storms and Brianna Sturgis on this past mining pod this past week. This ties into the documentary Blockspace produced with Galaxy Digital on their mega mine down in Texas, and the story of the small town that it related to and drove forward innovation and building the swimming pool in the town. So
build the pool.
The pool.
Good little recap. I don't know. I think like that sort of podcast is more for people who are new to Bitcoin mining, maybe coming into the space right now, as we see Bitcoin price being like pretty steady. So not a podcast I'd say for like normal Bitcoiners. It's more for like a discovery audience.
And then we also had an episode of the Gwart Show. We had this title, Laser Eyes Stay On, with Alan Farrington. Alan Farrington, very well respected, very insightful Bitcoin developer. Gwart had a close to 2-hour conversation with him. I have not made it all the way through yet, but it's been making the rounds in kind of the Bitcoin circles, and it's been incredibly well received.
It's a good show. It's a really good show. I need to finish it also. I got about an hour into it. His shows are definitely longer, so it's like it's kind of eating a long meal. You eat half of it, maybe finish it later, like a good steak, like
first maybe part, reading a book. Yeah.
Steak and eggs later. So really good show.
And then the last one we had I dropped a pod with Citrea this past week. Orkun, founder of Citrea, which is a new Bitcoin zero knowledge roll up. Great interview with Orkun. We dive into some of the incentive modeling and just their design philosophy behind this. So go check that out. Again, we have a lot of additional podcasts coming this week that I think is going to be very interesting for listeners. So
The Citria one's really interesting because you have Citria, Alpine, Tapper Wizards, like a bunch of different companies coming out to build whatever this layer 2 is going to look like. And then we go down to Bitcoin Plus Plus, and you see that Bitcoin developers also seem to have like an itch right now for something else to happen. So who knows if that's going to like fulfill what these like venture backed startups want. But there seems to be like the direction and the train is moving together. Like everyone's kind of moving the same way.
all right, let's move on to writing. We skipped the newsletter this past Friday because both you and I, the entire Blockspace team, was down in Austin, Texas. But I just put together an initial brief on our time down in Austin this past week in today's Blockspace newsletter. I think this is the beginning of whatever I think maybe the number one story of 2024. Last year it was ordinals. This year it is the discussions around what could become a Bitcoin soft fork. So you want to give some context here, Will?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing at Bitcoin Plus Plus was there was a lot of developers who maybe are in the more progressive camp versus like the ossifiers, and they want a Bitcoin soft fork, whether that be an Opcat, OpsCTV, or Rusty's project, which you kind of talked about in this piece about the Great Restoration project, where we bring back a ton of opcodes that Satoshi got rid of that would make developers' lives a little bit easier. Like the end goal here is to build more stuff on top of Bitcoin natively, as opposed to ceding this territory to other chains. We've seen that with ordinals, and it brought NFTs to Bitcoin, and that was a huge boon for the market. We even had a nice chart in the newsletter showing Bitcoin dominance is ticking upwards. It's like a 54%. And if you think about it, all these different meme coins, if they're built on top of Bitcoin, that means Bitcoin dominance is going to grow year over year, which would be, I think, great for Bitcoin, great for the underlying asset. Now, the thing to counter that against is like, is it good for your node? Is it good for decentralization of the network? And that's where the ossifier camp kind of comes in. So I think this thing is going to heat up going through the end of the year. I think Bitcoin Plus Plus was like definitely one of the strongest conferences I've ever been to in terms of conversations. It reminded me a lot of the 2019 Lightning conference in Berlin, which is also super, super strong. And I hope that we get some more follow-up this year with more opcode conversations.
Yep, I think this is going to be a major story we'll be following in person and probably focusing on it on across the Blockspace Media podcast network. So what's next this week? I think the big one is that I will be headed over to Hong Kong on behalf of Blockspace to be at the Bitcoin Asia conference as well as the Ordinals Asia conference. So I'll be doing panels. I'll be on a panel and hosting a panel at Bitcoin Asia and Ordinals Asia, respectively. And then make sure to, this is not yet super pushed or distributed on our social media, but we have an event on Thursday night that we are co-sponsoring with Botanics. So that'll be in Hong Kong. That'll be an in-person event. It'll be a fun Bitcoin Season 2 event party at a cool club in town. So what else is next? Will we have anything else that we missed on the docket?
Nothing this audience will want to hear about, just day-to-day media work. Lots of podcasts coming out, so stay tuned for that. And then Blockspace Bytes might start looking at doing more of these and do some like news roundups in the middle of them as well. So if you have thoughts, feel free to drop them in the comments so we can kind of take a look at them and see what you guys want. 150 you guys watching, so hopefully we can make this pretty decent every Monday morning.
Yeah. Let us know. What do you want to see in Blockspace Bytes? Is 10 minutes too short? Is it too long? Let us know. Otherwise, see you throughout the week.